Here, really excited. Happy Monday for you guys. Excited to be cooking with you today. Just to kind of knock out what's on my menu and understand. I know some people think I don't eat, like convenience foods. I really do. I just, for my morning snack, for my afternoon snack, and for my evening snacks, I don't have the time to eat like a bowl of chicken and rice and all this other kind of stuff. So I normally do something quick. So I'll do like the ostrums, I'll do a protein bar, I'll do a protein shake, I'll do things that are really convenient for my snacks. Not because snacks should be smaller than meals and all that kind of stuff. It's just because as my day gets started, it needs to kind of go. I'm in meetings. Literally I was doing a consultation on Saturday and I whipped out a protein bar in the middle of the consultation and started getting it in because I was behind on my meal. So I couldn't whip out a bowl of rice and chicken. So I do eat that stuff. I love it. I use all those kind of things to add convenience to my life, depending on how busy my day is. But today I want to talk about, again, one of my favorite topics to talk about is the brain, the mind, the self-image, your soul pretty much. And I guess my premise will be, before we get into it, what's to eat? So for my big meals, for breakfast, I have half a cup of egg whites with an ounce of cheese, 2 eggs, some tomatoes, all on a wrap. And then for my lunch, I have a half a cup of rice with 6 ounces of chicken, and avocado is my fat. And for dinner, I have 5.5 ounces of chicken, 2 cups of spinach, 2 cups of broccoli, and some avocado. So I'm probably gonna make my lunch first, and then I'm gonna have to make my dinner separate from my lunch, just because I can't get rice in my dinner today. So with that, I'll just get cooking on that. So one of the things I'm really excited about is to talk about is this idea of your self-image and proper preparation. I need cutting board. And your self-image, it is almost easy to understand. A lot of people think your self-image is what you think of yourself, but it's really what you think that other people think of you. And we see this happen all the time. When you get around family, they think of you a certain way, so you behave a certain way. A lot of us, when we show up in front of somebody else, that we may not, they think of us a certain different way. If that makes sense, we behave that way. So our self-image is not just what I think of me, or my self-image is not just what I think of me, is what I think you think of me. And why is that important? It controls the way we act. Again, it's what I think you think, so it's not necessarily what you think of me is what I think. So, even with my children when they were younger, and I still tell them now, you guys are leaders. When you go into a room, people are expecting you to lead. You have a banner to carry, your responsibility, you're in Armantrading, you're Christian, so there's an expectation that the world has for you to perform or to act like. So they walk in a room pretty confident because they're thinking this is what people think of them. So what does this have to do with your health and fitness? A ton, because many times we start devaluing ourselves over time based on our failures. And one of the things, as you study people that are hyper successful in life, you'll see that they fail a ton. And I talk about it a lot, but I think it's a great way to start a Monday morning to remind yourself that, hey, if you failed over the weekend, if you failed in the past, as long as you didn't quit, you still have an opportunity to succeed. So that's a really important thought process to go through, is to ensure that you're getting the right image of you in there and realize that you're worth being healthy. We say optimal health is 3 things here. One is being disease-free from chronic disease. And when I say chronic disease, I'm talking about the diseases we can control. So anywhere from diabetes to cardiovascular disease, high blood pressure, all those kind of things, to being, disease and medication free. That's one part. The second part is having a body composition you desire. So when you look in the mirror, that body is a body that you're happy with, and for everybody at different stages of your life, that changes, when you're in your 20s, it doesn't really matter the age, really. When I say stages, it may be events. So, when I did the men's physique competition last year, well, I would not be happy with today's body doing the men's physique competition. So we got some onions in here that are just, sauteing. I'm actually going to start the dinner in the other pan as well. I throw some scallions and onions in there as well. But you want to be confident in your body and what it is. And many times I see people that are very successful in life, but their body image affects their self-image. So because they failed in the idea of being fit or things like that, then they have this negative or this failure tied to it, and it really affects your self-image. And then I see a lot of times other people have reconciled that I'm just destined to be big, so I'm just going to love me big. Well, I think you should love you at any size, so that's really important. But because you love you, you should reach your goals. You should not quit. You should push towards, I think of the scripture where Paul says, I press towards the prize of the high calling, in Christ Jesus. Press towards the mark of the prize and the high calling. So, even though he knew that he was valuable and God had a purpose for his life, he still continued to press towards that end goal. So, it doesn't matter. They say the bigger the struggle, the bigger the victory. So, if you've reconciled within yourself that you will win, if you made that decision that, hey, I'm going to win in this area, then fight your fight and realize that the struggle that you have is maybe different from the struggle someone else has in this particular area. And, it's just something that we have to be okay with, something we have to accept, because everybody comes to the table with a different history, a different background. We just need something to mix this stuff up with. Yeah. So I do use mixing spoons. People go, you always use your hands. And I do. I like to use my hands to kind of mix it up some. But I can use other things as well. So it's just really important, that you take the time and you press. You go through your inconvenience. You fail, you get back up, and you continue to go forward. Because once you lock in your mind of who you are and how you deserve to be healthy and fit, then the fitness equation actually gets easier because you're supposed to get it. Kind of like a child or like let's say like a prince, who has an inheritance that he's expecting, well, he knows at the appointed time he's going to get the inheritance that he wants. So because he knows he wants that inheritance and he's going to get it, it's not like, well, I hope I'm going to get it. I'm going to try to be the king. He knows when that day comes, it's just the natural next step. And if we condition ourselves with that mindset, throw some garlic in here as well. If we condition ourselves with that same mindset, then we're just going through our process, but then at the appointed time, we're going to have our success as well. So you just do the work. You just press through it. And you don't fight against it, but you speak consistently, hey, the appointed time I'm going to get the health. At the appointed time I'm going to get the success. I'm going to get the fitness goals that I want to accomplish. I'm fit and I'm worthy to it. So understand that your attitude or your disposition sometimes can determine what your end position will be. A lot of times if we go into a situation with a great positive attitude, then great and positive things happen. But if we go in a situation with a negative attitude, then, negative things may happen. So one of my favorite, I never read the book, but I thought it was a really cool movie. And I thought the movie was cool because I kind of lived my life according to the movie before I knew the movie existed, was the movie The Secret. And in this movie, they talked about how, the universe yields or bends. And I think sometimes when, media is doing its thing, it has to present the data in a way that's palatable, for all demographics. So I know the universe is not bending. I know that there's a God in heaven. I know there's angels that's been given charge over me. So for me, I can just make that psychological translation and still get the nuggets out the movie. But basically, is what you meditate on, what you think about consistently, what you believe in your heart, and what you speak, you will attract those things into you. So when we relate this to health and fitness, then it's like, hey, what's my meditation about me? And I tell you, there's a lot of things out there to motivate, and some of the things that should motivate can demotivate. What do I mean? Well, you have things out there I got the wrong measuring screen. 1 second. There's things out there like Instagram, for an example. And on Instagram, you can find a lot of great physiques, you know, on Instagram. You can follow physiques on Instagram. And, you know, you can say, hey, one day I'm going to look like that. Or you can say, man, you start comparing other people's best to your worst. And you go, man, I'll never look like that. I don't know if it's even worth it. Man, da-da-da-da-da. But, you know, maybe you didn't start as that as your goal. Maybe your goal is just to kind of fit your clothes, have more energy, be healthy. Whatever your goal was, the key is to be true to your goals. And even if you look at people that are further ahead as motivation, still remember why you get started. So one of the key principles in that is write down what your goal is. I'm just looking to see how much chicken. So 6.5 and 5.5. So if you write your goals down, it makes it easy for you to not to forget what your goals are as you go down the journey. It doesn't mean your goals cannot change, but I always recommend, how about we stick to the original goal until we hit that goal, and then we can upgrade the goal. You know, so if my goal is just to, you know, 6.5 and 5.5. My goal, let's say, was to lose 20 pounds. And then I see, like we're about to show Robert Carter's testimonial all over Seeing Me Fit in our world in a moment. And when people see that, they're going to be like, I want that goal now. I want to lose 70 pounds in under a year. Well, how about you start with your 30-pound goal that you had, and once we hit the 30-pound goal, then let's go after the 70-pound goal. You know? So they say, you know, how do you eat the elephant? Everybody knows the answer, one bite at a time, and all that kind of stuff. But that's the idea. The idea is, hey, take your time and have these small progressive goals that you go towards to reach your big goal. And this is what helps your psyche, because you know, hey, I'm down 5 pounds, and you can, you know, celebrate in that. Versus, man, I'm only down 5 pounds. You know, I got this long journey to go. Well, you had that same long journey before you started. Now you're just 5 steps into it, so it should be a shorter journey, you know. So again, our disposition or our psyche that we take to the game, it was 5.5, 5 and 6.5. Really makes a big difference in the result that we get, because those 5 pounds, you know, what's healthy weight loss? 0.5 pound to, or really 0.5% of your body weight to 1% is aggressively healthy per week. So if you weigh 200 pounds and you lost 1 pound a week, that's a pretty good goal. If you was 150 pounds or 180 pounds and you're losing, you know, anywhere between 0.75 and 1.5 pounds per week, that's pretty good. So you see someone who's losing 2 pounds a week, you're like, man, that should be me. No, just run your own race. So use others to help motivate, but never use them as a tool to kind of speak against where you are in your journey. So I'm super excited about my food today. I feel like I have less food, but maybe it's just because I'm a little hungry. You know how that is. And that's why measuring is really good. Intuitive eating would never work for me, because the days I'm like super hungry, I'd probably eat, you know, 2 times the amount that I need, and the days that I'm not, I'd probably just follow my meal plan. You know? So I can't eat intuitively, even though I've been doing this for so long. I gotta like weigh and measure and account for what I eat. My psyche, I love food and I love to eat, so it would not work for me. So today I wanted to do something simple, not a whole lot of different ingredients. Tomorrow I'm gonna go curry, so I'm pretty excited about that. But today I just wanted to do something really simple to get my food in throughout the course of the day. So lunch looks nice and thick and good to go, and then dinner will be almost the same thing, just without the rice. Now notice that in this meal, this is really important. In this meal, you're only seeing the chicken and the rice. I mean, I'm not going to count broccoli towards my total carb intake, you know, but chicken, rice, and some spinach. But I do have fat in my meal, and I think a lot of times people, in their attempt to eat healthy or clean or whatever they want to call it, they start deleting certain macronutrients. They start going, well, I just want to eat chicken and rice. Well, chicken and rice is just proteins and carbs. You do need that fat, you know. So it's really important. Tons of health benefits to fat in and of itself, but you want to get all 3 of your macronutrients in predominantly every meal. Now sometimes, you know, we have people on special programs where we start deleting stuff. So we may take out the carbs out of your diet and things like that, but you still, or we may, have just, or out of a meal, not out of your whole diet, out of a meal. Some people may feel like it's out their whole diet, but you always want to get in fiber on a regular basis. So healthy bowel movements are really, really important. So we'll do that temporarily, but ideally you want to have all 3 macronutrients, as a good guide in all your meals. The only meal I would say, hey, if you're trying to cut weight, a good meal to take it out of is dinner. So if you notice in my dinner, all I have is chicken and broccoli and avocado, so I don't really have any real carbs in my dinner, just because I made the decision, I think yesterday, that I'm ready to start cutting down a little bit. So I'm going to lose about, 10 pounds over the next 2.5 months or so, which is healthy, 10 weeks, 10 pounds, a pound a week. Knowing me, I'll probably get some momentum and crank it up a little bit, and then lose a little bit more. So I'm just going to rinse this off real quick, make the omelet, and then wrap up. Hey, baby girl, you want to say hello? You can give them the next habit.
Hello. Okay, so habit number 5 is seek first to understand, then to be understood. Listen before you speak. So you can use that when you're making something or the exact same thing that my dad's making. You have to watch and listen what he's doing and pay attention so you won't mess anything up, and to speak and tell others about it.
Nice. I love how you just, I take 20 minutes to get 1 point out, and she gets out 1 point in like 30 seconds. You probably want to rinse this off and start making your breakfast. That was great, Dia. Habit number 5. So we're just going through the 7 habits of highly successful people, and that was the next habit. So lastly, I'm going to do is make this omelet. I'm pretty excited about it. I got a half a cup of egg whites and 2 eggs. I love the controversy. Be really important. I love the seek first to understand. We're all about asking questions, so at any point you can definitely jump in, ask questions about different things. But understand, when you ask Google, this is what Google does. Google goes, I don't know, look at these places. It doesn't mean it's accurate. I love it. At least in college before, I still think you can't do it. You can't say, hey, where did you get that data from? Oh, I got it from Google. That's not research. So people go, oh, I've been researching XYZ. I'm like, oh, where did you get that from? Oh, Google. No. Google is like going to, the old school phone book and just looking for plumbers. It doesn't mean the plumber's good. It just means they registered in the phone book. So really, really important thought process to have. Where's my spoon? There we go. In there. So when it comes to eggs, it's a big controversy thing. Oh, I can't eat eggs because I have high cholesterol. I can't eat shrimp because I have high cholesterol. But there's no peer-reviewed journal. There's no scientific proof that dietary cholesterol increases blood cholesterol. Actually, my total cholesterol, I think, is 134. My triglycerides, I don't remember my triglycerides, but those are the fats that are tied with the lipoproteins. And I don't want to go super analytical here, but my triglycerides, I think, are like 70 something, if not lower. Healthy is anything under 150. And my LDL proteins are, I think, was like super low. I forgot exactly the numbers. I'll actually look at my labs and mention them either later today in a cast or tomorrow. And maybe in that we can do a video that just talk about how to understand your lab work, which is really cool. I love looking at lab work. I love the data, and but understanding it makes a huge difference. So we know that your dietary cholesterol is not going to increase your blood cholesterol. The cholesterol from your food is not going to increase it. So where does cholesterol come from? Maybe I'll wrap up with this as I'm making my eggs. I didn't get the cheese out. Yeah, I did. So where do you get your cholesterol from? You get your cholesterol from 2 places. One is your liver, and the other one's from the foods that you eat. So your liver actually makes 75% of your blood cholesterol. So most of the cholesterol in your body comes from your liver. So the food that actually does increase blood cholesterol is saturated fats and high high glycemic carbohydrates. So saturated fats makes your liver produce more cholesterol, but that cholesterol can't get in your body without the use of insulin. So insulin's a hormone. We call it a master hormone, and the reason why is because it affects so many different systems in the body, and it's a driver to get certain nutrients into your cells. So, is it an ounce of cheese? Yep, it's an ounce of cheese. So, if someone has lots of insulin in their body, then their cells kind of open up more for the cholesterol to kind of go into the cells. So that plaque buildup that we're looking for, that's due to insulin resistance. But you can't develop insulin resistance unless you have carbohydrates really high in your diet, or high glycemic carbs in your diet a bunch. So, like for me, I have eggs almost every single day, probably for the last couple of years. Every once in a while I don't have eggs, but I really like the taste of eggs, and I figure if I like it, I should eat it. I was talking with somebody yesterday and I'll never stop eating, I think he said barbecue wings or something like that, but I really want to do your program. I said, great, so you don't have to stop eating barbecue wings. It's just a matter of how much barbecue wings you're going to eat when. That's what's going to really determine if you get your results that you're really looking for. So, anyway, so 75% comes from your blood, from your liver. Your liver makes cholesterol, so cholesterol is actually healthy. What your liver does, it makes LDL cholesterol, which is the smaller cholesterol, called low-density lipoproteins, and sends it over to your cells. Your cells use these cholesterol to metabolize vitamin D. They use them to make hormones. Every cell in your body has cholesterol in it. And then your body produces HDL cholesterol, these high-density lipoproteins, to bring the LDL cholesterol kind of back from your cells to your liver. So it's kind of like a recycling concept, kind of like, rain drops down, it goes into the earth, and then it, evaporates into the air, and rain drops down, evaporates in the air. Same kind of concept, right? So, this omelet is looking so good. I just used the wrong thing to flip it. Hold on a second, I don't want to break it. This is like a beauty. My son would be proud. He makes like the best looking omelets in the house. Look at that. Oh, good. Oh, yeah. So what the disparity happens now is when your body's making more LDLs than it can bring back inside. So it's kind of like a what's it called? So your body makes these LDL cholesterol, but now it's making too many. Now, why would it make too many? LDL cholesterol is really not what we're measuring. Is not necessarily the cholesterol itself. We're actually measuring the packets. So we call those the particles. So in every LDL cholesterol, you probably need to get a paper towel to do this, to dry that off in a second. But every LDL packet, so if you think about it like a circle, I'm trying to make a circle here, there we go, has some triglycerides in it and some LDL cholesterol. Well, the more the packet has LDL cholesterol and the less triglyceride, the healthier that LDL cholesterol is. But the more it's triglycerides, the less it's actually LDLs, then the less healthy it is. Meaning your body's going to make a whole lot more in order to get the cholesterol that it needs, or the LDLs that it needs to the cells. So what determines how much whatever? It's actually carbs. So the American Heart Association, I already turned it off, baby.
I'm going to cook some eggs.
Oh, you want to make some eggs? Make the eggs in this pan, because this one has the bacon grease in it. So I just needed something. So if you if you have a lot of carbs in your diet, your body says, hey, we need to make more triglycerides, and these more triglycerides, as it says, hey, we need to make more LDL cholesterol. So the American Heart Association, that's what I was saying, a diet that's 60% or more in carbohydrates increases your cholesterol levels. It increases your risk for cardiovascular disease. Big challenge today, and it's a big argument in the dietetic community, is how much carbs you should get, because the American Dietetic Association says, hey, you should probably have 50 to 60% of your diet should come from carbs. Well, if No, I already got cheese in mind. If 50 to 60% of your diet should come from carbohydrates, I'm done with my food. And 50 to 55 should come from carbs, and 60 or more gives you heart disease or high cholesterol. Now we have this massive confusion because who's able to manage 5%? You know, and that's, you should probably spray the pan. I got you, babe. There you go. You know, and that's what's causing some of the challenges today. So, you know, there's a ton of research now available that shows that there's a direct correlation with high cholesterol and diabetes. You know, and the reason why is because insulin resistance at the root is what causes both of these challenges to happen. So if you're looking at, hey man, my cholesterol's up or my blood sugar's up, one of the first things you should do is monitor or control your carbohydrate intake. Doesn't mean don't eat carbs, but like we teach simple principles. You know, things like, hey, get your carbs in before or by lunch. You know, if you're trying to cut weight or lean out. You know, or you know, eat more low glycemic carbohydrates when you're doing those kind of things. So without going into details on how much one should need based on their body is very subjective. But those are some of the minor changes you can make, and you can lose a lot of work. So, I mean, lose a lot of weight and increase your health from a disease prevention standpoint. So, but yeah, if you're eating saturated fats, not too much, but then we're controlling it, right? So we know, hey, if saturated fats does increase serum cholesterol, then we want to decrease that. We decrease the amount of saturated fat, but we don't delete it because it can't get my cholesterol or my LDLs high without that insulin marker. Insulin is a hormone produced by your pancreas to get sugar out of your blood or nutrients out of your blood into the cells. So it's a yin-yang game that you play, but the name of the goal is controlling that. So kind of went a little bit over, but I got excited about it, and I'm a little bit of a nerd when it comes to this kind of stuff. But we are going to do one just explaining your labs, and I'll actually take my lab work and kind of review it to kind of say this is what, you know, labs are, and this is what each of these items mean, and we may break it up in 2 videos or so. So hopefully it adds a lot of value. We're really excited about what's going on here at Senior Fit. We're adding to our staff, so I'm excited about that. So some of you guys saw on Facebook, we are looking for, thank you, Vanessa, we are looking for an office manager, as well as we're adding on another personal trainer and a nutritional coach. So we have a great team, and we've just been blessed to be able to help more and more people. So we have to prepare for the growth that God has in store for us. Talk to you guys soon. Remember, we do free workouts on Saturdays, and we have that new Fit Ranks program coming up. That's really, really awesome. So have a wonderful day, and look forward to seeing you guys soon.